In the new movie called It's Gonna Blow, you see and hear a slice of local indie music from the late 80s and early 90s. But San Diego's promising indie music explosion fizzled. Here with some possible reasons why are my guests, San Diego musician Rob Crow with the band Pinback and filmmaker Bill Perrine. And Bill, the title of this film, It's Gonna Blow, is provocative. What does it mean?
It means a few things. It comes from a line in a song called Aroma of Gina Arnold by a band called Truman's Water. And it's about the idea, it's your plastic culture sucks and it's gonna blow. It's about the idea of blowing up the old order and starting anew with something different, something fresh. So that's the first meaning, but it's referring to the idea that in the early 90s people were saying San Diego was gonna be the next Seattle, like the next alternative hotspot. And the town was going to blow up and become huge.
Yeah.
So there's kind of that meaning as well.
All right, and we're going to come back to that. But first, I want to get to a clip from your film where Mitch Wilson of the band No Knife talks about music in San Diego in the 80s and 90s.
Think of San Diego, they think of sunshine and, beaches, whatever. I don't know what they think of. San Diego is very, very different for me. I think of like all the punk rock kids and all these, all these dark, weird bands and music.
Now, Rob, how would you describe San Diego's music scene during the early 90s?
Well, at its best, I would say it's like a varied group of weirdos trying to do their best to make the most creative and individualist music that they could, Everybody had a great time going to each other's shows, but doing things that were intense but different from each other, really making an effort to be creative. In new ways. Did
you and other musicians at that time that you knew, did you buy into the idea that San Diego might be exploding into the next Seattle?
That, with the people that I was hanging out with mostly, it was a non-issue because we were too busy trying to make new things and have fun with each other that, we didn't think our kind of thing would ever really catch on.
All right. Well, Bill, that gets back to the movie then, and a few possible reasons why it didn't really catch on in the way that people thought. What are some of those reasons?
Well, I think like Rob said, I don't think most of the musicians thought in that way at all, with a few very notable exceptions, I guess. But it really comes down to how you define like what success is. And I think for most of these bands, they were perfectly successful. The idea that you have to become the next Nirvana or Stone Temple Pilots or whatever. I don't think they thought that way. Making the music they wanted to make was success. And that probably affected their career prospects because they maybe didn't do the things that you have to do to become successful. The games you have to play, the concessions you have to make, the changes that you have to make to your music, your vision, your lifestyle,
Do you think San Diego is, I'll ask you this, Rob, do you think San Diego is supportive of kind of nurturing that sort of a huge music scene, or is there just too much going on here?
Well, at the time, I know there was, but it's hard to say how big it was because we thought, 20 people at a show was a crazy amount of people watching you or watching what was going on. But everybody spent a lot of time being supportive at the time, and it was only when a lot of people saw what was going on and thought, and people started to get popular doing what they were just doing anyway, that other people came into town and started to doing those things that we were doing anyway, but trying to put a price tag on it.
Right. Trying to make it a little more than
weird.
It made it weird.
Yeah.
I see. Well, let's talk about what's going on now at the Chay Cafe at UC San Diego's campus. It's still occupied, and even though there's been repeated attempts to shut it down, how does this venue fit into San Diego's music history and the underground music scene here?
Well, I'll keep it brief because I think Rob has a better insight into that than I ever could. But it's integral. It's huge. I mean, it's the incubator for a lot of these bands. It's not only just as a place where you can go and kind of do interesting, weird things, but the ethics behind the place, the ethos, all of that, I think, I don't know if a lot of these bands would have really happened without it. It's huge.
And what do you think, Rob?
For me, that was a place that I could go as soon as I was old enough to be able to get to a show. That's what I wanted to do. I'd go there every weekend, not knowing who was going to play, and every weekend I'd see at least one thing that was amazing, if not, 5 things that were amazing. And it was always a place, and is a place, where anybody could go and feel safe. And there's a support system of people that aren't going to let horrible things happen to you, where everyone is welcome.
Oh. All right, we're going to have to end on that. Rob Crow and Bill Perrine, whose documentary "It's Gonna Blow" is actually available on DVD right
That's
now.
right.
All right. Well, thank you both so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.